Good morning. Today is October 8th, and we are here in the United States. We are watching as yet another catastrophic hurricane is heading for Florida, less than a week after Hurricane Helene made landfall here in the United States on the southeast and cut a path of destruction through 5 to 6 states, literally devastating, catastrophic destruction. Entire towns washed away that are gone. There's no rebuilding. They have to start from scratch. So, while this is happening now, not a week later, we have Hurricane Milton, who is expected to make landfall in Florida on the 10th, like in a couple of days, right in time for the lunations. So here's some observations I want to share with you guys about astrology and symbolism. And just these are my thoughts. You can believe whatever you want, right? So the first thing is, just as an observation, there are people who learning astrology or, new to the game, as it were, or you're maybe old to the game, I don't know, try to make a name for themselves, believe that you can pinpoint everything with astrology. And they do entire study groups on the times of death of people, right? And there was actually some knucklehead, of course it was a man, who was asking for information about women's miscarriages so they could see if there's an astrological correlation to that. I mean, aside from that's just ghoulish and inappropriate. Why? So here's my feeling on the study of like events, right? Major catastrophic events. So, I mean, I'm sure there's a place for that information, but my feeling is it doesn't make a difference if you can predict something that's unavoidable, like a miscarriage or someone's death, right? Or hurricanes. Like, it doesn't make any difference if we can predict these things if we can't prevent them from happening. So what is the point? I don't get it. I mean, unless you're talking about hedging your bets with life insurance policies, which would be, maybe a useful application of knowing when someone's going to die. I don't get it. I find it a remarkable waste of time for everything that astrology could give you. But again, this is my feeling on the matter. So I went back and checked the dates for Hurricane Helene. This is a huge, huge hurricane. And now Hurricane Milton, which is going to devastate Florida. How it keeps missing the tip of Florida where Mar-a-Lago is, I don't know. But I'm sure the Bible-thumping crazy people who support this man will swear up and down it's because God's protecting him. Maybe God and Mother Nature's protecting him for something far, far more spectacular than just a simple hurricane where he would get a lot of sympathy. I don't know. Anyway, so September 26th, give or take a day. September 26th is the day of the lunation, last lunation in September. So if you go back to the September horoscope, you can pull up the quarter moon at 2 Cancer and read up about what we discussed there. And what's interesting is that we knew water everywhere, not a drop to drink. We knew water was going to be an issue. Water quality, poisonous water, toxic water, which you're going to get when you get floods, right? These kinds of floods, all the chemicals end up in the water. But, I wasn't thinking about a hurricane, which just wasn't in my line of sight, which isn't to say it couldn't happen. Could have been a Noah's Ark flood for all we know. But we knew water was going to be an issue. So if you go back and you listen to the report for that quarter moon, it all tracks with what was happening. We just weren't able to pinpoint that it was going to be a catastrophic hurricane. So, and of course now with Hurricane Milton, again happening under a quarter moon coming up in the next couple of days. So, like literally right on top of the quarter moon, we've got a Jupiter station retrograde, Pluto station retrograde, a whole bunch of other aspects hidden underneath that with this quarter moon with Hurricane Milton. And again, like there's nothing, I'm not seeing hurricanes because it's the last thing on my mind, right? And I'm certainly not going to announce we've got a major catastrophic hurricane to scare people, like, right? Because if you're wrong, buddy, you just scared and panicked a whole bunch of people for nothing. And that's even worse than being wrong. So, but if you read the symbolism, here's what I'm trying to get at. If you read the symbolism for these planetary alignments at these times, the symbolism says a lot about what is expected from us in an evolutionary sense, right? So these external events in our life, these people and events, these circumstances, they happen But they're not the definition of who we are, right? They're opportunities and exercises for us to dig deeper and explore ourselves and determine who we actually are, what our character actually is. You never know somebody well until like things really get bad. Then you see the character of a person, right? Or when things, they think they can get away with something, and nobody's watching. So we're given opportunities right now to really discover who we are. And more importantly, if you look at the astrological symbolism, to rise up to the evolutionary demand of the moment, which is what the astrology is describing. So if you're interested, you can go back and read September, I think it's 26th. There's the October. There's the lunation, the quarter moon at 2 Cancer, the last week of September, which was right about within a day or two when Hurricane Helene was making landfall here in the United States and devastating, just ridiculously huge, unbelievable path of destruction. And now also, if you look at this month, you can read the section for this quarter moon, which is when Hurricane Milton is landing. Again, for me, astrology and the symbolism has everything to do with the evolutionary demand being put on you. It's about who you are and how you should be responding and how you should avoid responding under certain planetary alignments, because there's a bigger picture involved and it has everything to do with you being a better person. But there are some people who are absolutely convinced that, we can and should be using astrology to predict unavoidable events like miscarriages. I'm never going to forget that. Never going to forget that. And I think I remember who it was. It's good that I don't remember who this character was, because I'm never going to forget or forgive somebody for something so ghoulish. So there are people who believe with that. There are people who look at death charts, when the time of death for people, like that's going to tell you anything. The man or woman or child has been dispatched from the earth. Their evolutionary journey is done. There's nothing to see in their death chart that's worth anything. I'm just saying. Or other things. Like I don't get like natural disaster charts and death charts and miscarriage charts. I don't get it, because why? What use does it serve, right? Realistically. So for those of you who are learning astrology, or those of you who are a little familiar with it that aren't buying into all that hoo-ha, right? This would be a good time to remember and remind yourself that astrological symbolism is a map of evolutionary demand. It is literally a map of where you need to go and how you need to get there to evolve and become the best possible version of yourself. Or not. Maybe it's just there so we can, try to figure out how to win sports games and, predict deaths. All right. Talk to you guys later. I'll put the links to the videos down below, and you can go to the videos themselves and get the timestamps. All right. Bye.